Jennifer Lopez was the girl from the block who went on to become the biggest star of the decade.
I know what it's like to be somebody who's working 9 to 5 and getting on a train every day and who wants more.
This is a real incredible story of going from a lower middle class family in the Bronx to
What?
superstardom.
Oh my God, that's my little girl up there.
Suddenly, there wasn't anything about her people didn't want to know.
I think people were fascinated with Jennifer on many different levels. Certainly, her body is probably one of the most talked about things in the press.
Respect me as a woman. I could be your sister and somebody can be talking to her like that. Would you like that?
Jennifer was forced to defend not only her privacy, but often her reputation.
I heard that she had someone going ahead of her, strewing flower petals in her way and spritzing perfume.
She's still Jennifer. You know, to me, she's just my baby Jen. Don't believe everything you read.
And then the former fly girl became the millennium's it girl by proving she could conquer not one, but 2 full-time careers.
She has that ability, you know, she's got that gift.
But Jennifer's drive for success has not been limited to just her professional life.
She's always wanted to have a family just like we had.
There was just something so special about them, so different.
It's inspiring. It's not just 2 people having a lot of sex. These cats will last, man.
We'll see. I hope so.
Now, the story of a woman whose drive, dedication, and flair for drama have helped redefine the modern-day diva. This is Lifetime's intimate portrait, Jennifer Lopez. Lifetime's Intimate Portraits, hosted by Meredith Vieira.
I met Jennifer Lopez a few years ago in the green room of the David Letterman show. Dave, of course, was smitten with her, and as it turns out, so was everyone else. Since then, her career has gone through the roof, and now you can't pick up a magazine or newspaper without reading about her. But how much of what you read is true? And when was the last time you heard Jennifer speak for herself? Well, now's your chance. So if you're wondering what drives a Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx to reach for the stars, I'll let Jennifer tell you. After all, this is her story, her words.
By 2000, Jennifer Lopez was nearing the summit of what had clearly been a well-thought-out and steady rise to stardom. She had established herself as a solid box office draw, with standout performances in Selena, Money Train, and Steven Soderbergh's Out of Sight. And at 30 was undisputably a household name, whose fans adored her for her ability to stay grounded in the midst of celebrity.
Jennifer's a girl's girl. She's fun. She's, you can hang out with her.
This is who I am. You know what I mean? And if I put on something fake, people pick up on that. The public picks up on it right away. Your fans pick up on it right away. They're not feeling the fakeness. You know what I mean? They want the realness.
She doesn't let what everyone is buzzing about all the time interfere with what she wants to do with her life, and good for her.
Jennifer Lopez has this X quality, you know, the star quality, whatever that other thing is that nobody can define.
But what no one knew was that Jennifer Lopez was about to break the mold. Not willing to settle for mere movie stardom, she had carved out another niche for herself as a pop sensation. And in January of 2001, she made history when her romantic comedy, The Wedding Planner, became the #1 movie at the box office. At the same time, her album, J-Lo, hit the top spot on the Billboard charts.
I don't think I'll really understand until much later in life what a huge accomplishment that was. I just can't quite get my brain around being the first person to ever do something like that. You know what I mean? With all the amazing artists that I've looked up to in the world, I'm like, nobody else has ever done this. This is crazy. I was like, check Barbara Streisand, check, check all the people, They were like, no, Jennifer.
She had a look on her face like, I've landed, I'm here, I've done it,
That look was well earned, because Jennifer Lopez had been planning this moment for quite some time. Born on July 24, 1970, Jennifer Lopez was the middle daughter of Puerto Rican immigrants. Her father, David, was a computer technician, and her mother, Guadalupe, a kindergarten teacher. Guadalupe took a great deal of pleasure in sharing her love of musicals with her daughters, Leslie, Jennifer, and Linda.
Well, it was because of my mom that we even loved music or were exposed to musicals or, plays, movies. All that kind of stuff was very much up my mom's alley.
I've always loved musicals. Since I was a little girl myself, I loved music and dancing. So it was just something, of course, I wanted my children to do and to love. So there was always music in the house.
I know every musical there is to know. Everyone. Quiz me. You know what I mean? I know all of them. And so that was kind of the template for where my kind of dreams began to spawn from, you know what I mean? I'd watch, Funny Girl or West Side Story or, any of these other great musicals, and I would just be like, that's what I want to do. I want to sing, I want to dance, I want to act, I want to do movies.
Jennifer found an outlet for her interests close to home at the Boys and Girls Club in the Bronx.
One of the big programs that we did have here at the club back in 1983 was the Performing Art Program, and one of the girls that started it was Jennifer Lopez.
Leslie and Jennifer especially were doing plays and musicals and choir and all that stuff all through their older school years.
I remember one musical they did, which was Godspell, and Jennifer choreographed that show. Leslie was singing in the choir, and Linda also was in it and danced and sang, and I was just like, oh, look at my three daughters.
There was something about Jennifer that my brother always said, there's that girl and she's really talented. There's some skills that you see on the stage that you wouldn't see the everyday kid.
Jennifer finished high school as a well-rounded student, excelling in track and gymnastics as well as the performing arts. However, during her first year of college, she realized that she had to devote herself full-time to her first love, performing. Her parents were not happy to hear the news.
When Jen didn't want to go on with school anymore, they were not supportive of that idea at all. I mean, obviously. And it was a scary thought for them, I'm sure, to think, what does she think is going to happen for her?
I wasn't thrilled about it, I'll say that right now. I was always worried about the aspect, the bad side of it, the drugs and the drinking and all the things you hear. But, so I wasn't like, oh God, do I really want her to do this? I was so afraid. But knowing how I had raised them, I should have never worried about that.
My mom still instilled in us to be very independent, and that with hard work we could accomplish whatever it is we wanted to do. I mean, as far as we actually had in our heads we could be the president of the United States if we wanted to be.
Jennifer began making the rounds of auditions full-time. She had already had some early luck with a role in My Little Girl opposite James Earl Jones. However, Jennifer's first big break would come in 1990 when she won a national audition to replace one of the popular Fly Girls on the hit television series In Living Color. Both Jennifer and her family were thrilled.
I think In Living Color was pretty much the genesis of everything.
First of all, we have a new Fly Girl coming all the way from Bronx, New York, Miss Jennifer Lopez.
It was pretty amazing, and I think everybody, my family, including myself, might have thought it was a fluke or a mistake, you know what I mean? I mean, I believed in myself, but at the same time, I felt like, wow, I can't believe this is happening to me.
All of a sudden, it was a TV show that she was on and a part of. It was just, it was just a whole other world. I knew it was a whole other level then. I'm sure she did too.
I had to move from New York. Nobody in my family ever lived anywhere but New York. You know what I mean? So to move to Los Angeles across the country by myself, at that time was a big deal, was a really big deal.
Next, Jennifer fights to become a leading lady in Hollywood.
And I was like, it has to work out. It has to work out. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to die. You know what I mean?
And later, she raises the stakes in both her personal and professional life.
Buffy understands one thing, it's being a superstar. And Jennifer also understands that.
Amen.
Still get to everything you want.
You're watching Lifetime's intimate portrait, Jennifer Lopez. By 1992, 22-year-old Jennifer Lopez had successfully moved out of the Bronx and out to Los Angeles to pursue her dreams of becoming a performer. She had landed a coveted spot as one of the In Living Color Fly Girls, but after 2 years, felt ready to move on. She began dancing for Janet Jackson, showing up in her video That's the Way Love Goes, and also began appearing in small roles in television movies and comedy pilots. But her first real moment to shine would come when director Gregory Nava cast her in his film Mi Familia, a project which would trace 3 generations of a Mexican-American family.
I had this casting call, and all these various actresses came in, and that's when I met Jennifer Lopez.
I must have gone back 6 times for Mi Familia. They made me go through the grind because the director was Mexican, and it was about a Mexican family, and he knew I was Puerto Rican, but he believed in me.
I knew that she was absolutely extraordinary, and I cast her in the film. That was her first film.
It was a 2-week shoot, and they had to condense it down to 8 days so I could do it because I was working on the television show, and it was just crazy, and I was like, it has to work out. It has to work out. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to die. You know what I mean?
Jennifer wanted to make the most of her first time on the big screen and was unwilling to leave anything to chance.
There was a very, very difficult scene where she's coming back from Mexico with her young baby that she's now given birth to. And she has to cross a river that's overflowing. And the boat falls over, and suddenly she's going down these rapids holding on to this baby. And it was a very, very tough scene to do. So we had it all figured out and designed out with a photo double doing most of this work. And when Jennifer was sitting there and she was watching the photo double do these scenes, she says to me, I have to get in that river and do this because she's ruining my performance. Well, it was her courage, her strength, her willingness, her wanting to do the best she possibly could, right, that made that scene be what it is.
The first time I saw her, they had her whole face on the screen. It was like, oh my God, that's my little girl up there. You know, it was like, oh, it was so amazing.
She was like, wow, you're really doing this in your life. You know what I mean? Like, this might actually pan out for you in some way, shape, or form.
What she did in Mi Familia was consummate. She became a master in her first performance.
I could feel like, everybody was kind of with me. And I could also feel for myself, like, yeah, I can do this. I have a knack for this.
Jennifer quickly followed up her success in Mi Familia with supporting roles in bigger budget films. Money Train with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, Jack with Robin Williams, and Blood and Wine with Jack Nicholson. It was surprisingly steady work for a Latina actress in Hollywood.
I was happy in the fact that I was working. I was getting opportunity. I was having auditions and scoring, in some of them, and a lot I wasn't. You know what I mean? So I still felt like, this could go either way, and the only thing that really kept me going was that kind of heart and desire that I had, this passion that I had to perform.
By 1996, the 26-year-old up-and-comer felt ready for leading roles. At the time, a feature film was being cast based on the life of slain Tejana singer Selena. And though it had only been a year since her first film, Jennifer wanted the shot. When she heard that her old friend Gregory Nava had been hired on to direct, Jennifer gave him a call.
The road to getting her that part, or her getting into that movie, was not so easy.
I remember there being a very big flap about it. Who was going to get cast and what was going to happen and stuff like that.
I took Jennifer out to dinner, and I said, look, you have to audition for this part. I can't give you this role. You have to audition. And she goes, I don't mind auditioning. I like auditioning. I'll put my talent up against anybody. And if I'm not the right person to do it, then let's all find out right now.
All I wanted to do was play it right. I just wanted to really do her in the right way and do her memory justice, because I do feel that she was such a bright light in the Latino community and did mean so much to so many people.
Jennifer won her role, but when the Mexican community discovered that Selena was being played by a Puerto Rican actor, there was controversy to contend with.
First you say we want a Latina to play the role of Selena, so they get a Latina. And then they say, well, no, wait a minute. She can't be Puerto Rican. She has to be Mexican. So, they get a little picky.
It was 15 months after her death that we started to film. That means we were preparing 12 months, 13 months, after her death. But we had a tremendous responsibility. It was very difficult for everyone. The pressure on Jennifer was overwhelming.
It was so horrible, but also she was very determined. And she said, I'm going to make all of these people, I'm going to bring them all over to my side. And I'm going to make them all know that I'm the right person to play this part.
I have to get right her relationship with her fans and what made her so accessible to them and what made them feel like she was one of them. Apart from being this huge star and an incredible performer, it was something that each one of them, when she waved to the audience, they all thought it was to them. And it was something that she had. It makes my hair stand up.
She had looked at Selena's videos and she was imitating the way Selena danced. She wasn't just dancing herself. She wanted to dance the way Selena danced.
She had everything down to the finger pointing this way, to the twist, to when Selena would say a certain part of the song, on what leg she was standing on when she said it, when did she smile, after what sentence in the song, who was she looking at, where were her hands, where were her feet. She was just so in tune with that, and she worked so hard with that.
Jennifer's hard work paid off. When the film was released in 1997, she was a bona fide hit. Her success was particularly rewarding for those closest to her.
I was so emotional when that movie was done, and I felt like it was so special, and it's just too much for me to have witnessed everything that she did and put up there.
It was just so incredibly overwhelming because I actually sat back and watched the story unfold. And I saw what this family went through and how close they were. And like the movie really, I guess that's to say the movie really worked on a certain level because I was able to kind of even forget that it was me.
You know the day on the bus when Chris said that he loved you? Well, I know he meant it.
He did mean it. We both love each other very much.
But it scared me. I don't know how to let you go.
It was A New Star is Born, and suddenly everybody who was poo-pooing her a few months before, they just shut up. And all anybody wanted to do was write about Jennifer Lopez, and all anybody wanted to do was talk to Jennifer Lopez, and all anybody wanted was a moment with Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez was clearly on her way, and now that she had grabbed everyone's attention, she wasn't about to let go.
She said, I want to be a superstar. I want to be as big as they come. And she said she was going to do whatever it takes to get there.
Next, Jennifer risks her leading lady status for yet another dream.
Most actors, they try to do music. It's a disaster. Who's ever pulled off such a thing?
And later, she discovers that life in the spotlight has its dark side.
When a man who's interviewing me just says, so, and you have a great ass, da-da-da. It's like, you don't know me. Don't talk to me like that.
When Lifetime's Intimate Portraits, Jennifer Lopez continues. Harsh. Lifetime's Intimate Portrait, Jennifer Lopez. By 1997, 28-year-old Jennifer Lopez had proven that the Bronx girl who came to Hollywood with just a dream was also undeniably talented. After jump-starting her career as a fly girl dancer, she had developed into a leading lady, winning not only critical acclaim with her star turn in Selena, but also new fans. In February, just as her star was rising, she married her boyfriend, Ohani Noah, and that same year starred in back-to-back productions including Oliver Stone's U-Turn with Sean Penn and Anaconda with Jon Voight.
She came prepared to do her work, and she just laid it out and did it, She had this discipline as a dancer, and that discipline helped her have poise as an actress. And I got the idea that she was going to be quite successful.
In 1998, the actress expanded her interests when she became a model and spokesperson for L'Oreal Cosmetics.
I'm worth it.
Jennifer's success was not just her own. It belonged to the entire Latino community.
She's got a lot of people who give her a lot of attention for everything she does, and so it's important that she sets a certain kind of standard.
I think she's a great role model for those that are looking to, especially as a Latina, to have a woman that they can look up to that shows them that you can make it.
She's changed the landscape of the Latino community totally. And, made us, as opposed to like a marginalized group, and just suddenly we're in the mainstream now, we're hip, we're cool, everything we do is wonderful.
As if to underscore this point, Jennifer was cast opposite George Clooney in Out of Sight, the Elmore Leonard novel which was being brought to the big screen by director Steven Soderbergh. Since the part was not written for a Latina actress, it would be her first mainstream role to break the color barrier.
Jennifer Lopez, that's what we got. That's what makes it sizzle. Jennifer.
She's not any one particular thing. She doesn't belong to any group. She's just Jennifer. And she is dynamic. She speaks for all women.
Although Jennifer had clearly reached a milestone in her career, the hard-working actress almost let it pass her by.
I kind of didn't even realize all of the kind of critical acclaim that it was getting and how, like, high on the movie everybody was. Plus, it didn't perform as well in the box office as everybody kind of expected it to do. So even to this day, I realized, I was like, hey, I missed something good back then. Come on, get to work.
Jennifer was so driven to succeed that she rarely took a break, and the non-stop schedule was beginning to take its toll on her personal life. In 1998, she and her husband Ohani decided to divorce after only 7 months.
She would just work and work and work nonstop. I mean, she'd stop a movie, she'd start a movie, she'd stop a project, she'd start a project. There would be no downtime for her, and that took a really hard toll on her.
To make matters worse, the press began to chart her every move. Although she had dreamt of a life in the public eye, Jennifer was not used to this kind of scrutiny.
That was the first time I was kind of thrust into the public eye and kind of lost the anonymity and the privacy and that aspect to life. And it was very unnerving then. And I went through a really weird, rough time, you know.
Her biggest thing was the way that the press always was after her, and it was very hard to deal with that at the beginning.
I think people were fascinated with Jennifer on many different levels, and I think it's different for everybody. I mean, certainly, you know, her body is probably one of the most talked about things in the press, you know, and you know, it's almost a running joke, you know.
Everything can be done in a tactful, tasteful way. You know what I mean? And when it is, of course, it's very, very flattering. But when it's done in a tactless way, then it's not flattering and it's rude.
I found it really insulting culturally because every woman we grew up with, you know, we grew up in New York, we grew up in the Bronx, who was not only Latina, but any woman of color, anyone we knew all our lives looked exactly like Jen. And what you were saying to these women, who are the majority of the world, is there's something not right about how your body looks. There's something to be pointed at and pointed out as exceptional.
When a man who's interviewing me just says, so, and you have a great ass, da-da-da, it's like, you don't know me. Don't talk to me like that. Respect me as a woman. You know, I could be your sister and somebody could be talking to her like that. Would you like that?
She has maintained her sense of humor about it. She's open, she's sort of, what can you do? And she sort of keeps going on.
Although Jennifer knew she was a magnet for the tabloids, she didn't let that stop her from pursuing a relationship with hip-hop mogul Sean Puffy Combs. The press had a field day, but Jennifer was still having fun. She was with someone who had even more experience than she did in front of the camera.
Puffy understands one thing, it's being a superstar. And Jennifer also understands that, so it's like the two are really, really quite phenomenal.
Puffy is an incredible kind of super force. He is a superstar. He's an entrepreneur, and he understands all aspects of the business. And being with him kind of made me realize that I needed to understand all of them as well.
Jennifer learned the lesson well. Although people had their doubts about whether she was making the right decision, she knew the time was right to pursue the second part of her dream, a recording career.
Most actors, you know, they try to do music. It's a disaster. Who's ever pulled off such a thing?
After I did the movie Selena, I went and cut a demo because it really inspired me. I was like, you know, I've always wanted to do this, and that movie taught me a lot of things in a lot of different ways. Just, you know, you never know what's going to happen. If you want to do something, do it now.
Jennifer found a kindred spirit in Sony Records chairman Tommy Mottola, who was ready to step up to the plate and help her make her dreams a reality.
I don't know what he saw, what it was, but he was like, I'm into it. And he heard the demo, and he watched some of my movies, and he was like, I can do this. I can make this girl a big star. She can be a big star, you know.
Tommy lined up like everybody, like every big major producer in the industry, because he was really trying to get her to sign to Sony.
He brought in one huge producer after the other to meet me. It was like Babyface and Rick Wake and, oh God, who else? It was a huge list of people, like the A-list, like everybody knew in the office, like something big is going on. And Tommy's like pulling out all the stops.
I was late for the meeting. I was like killing myself to get there. And all I could think about is like, I hope I don't get there and she's like a snob or something, like a nasty person.
I went to take a breather because it was also overwhelming. And I went out and he was playing the piano, Corey, and he was playing the song Talk About Us. And I said, that's pretty. And he's like, yeah, it goes like this. I saw you and fell in love. And I started singing it with him, and he's like, Tommy's like, why don't you guys go in and record that tomorrow? And that's how On the Six started, that quickly. Corey has been my partner ever since.
On June 9, 1999, Jennifer Lopez's debut album, On the Six, named for the time she spent on the subway line to the Bronx, was released, and everyone waited to see what would happen.
I think when you do a record, the expectations, you never know what is going to happen. You do it and you let people tell you if it's a success or not a success. And there's going to be a lot of attention because she's an actress.
Right away, Jennifer's first single, If You Had My Love, shot to the top spot on the Billboard charts. There was no longer any doubt about Jennifer's ability to succeed in this arena.
Before we could even have any doubt about it, the record was on the radio, and it was going crazy. So, like, we didn't even have 2 seconds to think about it not working, because it was already working.
On the Six would go on to reach triple platinum status, and at the next year's Grammys, Jennifer was nominated for Best Dance Song for Waiting for Tonight. Despite her success, however, the star had greater goals on the horizon.
As a musical artist, I had so much more to grow after that first album, although I was very proud of the success that it had. For me as an artist, I didn't feel like I had fulfilled all of my potential on that album. And with movies, the same thing, that same kind of longing to want to grow and want to be better.
Next, J-Lo conquers the world.
I couldn't believe it. I still don't believe it. I don't think it's true.
And later, she finds true happiness.
As soon as I met Ben, I just felt such a strong connection to him. And I said to myself, oh, God, if only.
When Lifetime's intimate portrait, Jennifer Lopez, returns. By 2000, Jennifer Lopez, the girl from the Bronx, had gone global. After winning over audiences and critics alike, she had taken a high-profile career as one of Hollywood's favorite leading ladies and channeled that energy into triple platinum status with her first album, On the Six. Not one to rest on her laurels, she went right back to work on her second effort, the stylishly self-titled J-Lo.
Working with Jennifer definitely was something that it was natural, me and her, because, not only that we know each other real well, and it's a lot of love and respect between me and her, and she felt that I was there for her, that she's protected, and that's the way it's going to be.
She is an artist that's really, really involved with the creative process. She needs to call me anytime, in the middle of the night, LA time, New York time, Japan time, whatever, and say, hey, I got this idea, it's crazy. She'll sing it on my answer machine.
As a best-selling artist, Jennifer also knew that her music videos needed to be on the cutting edge and collaborated with only the best the business had to offer.
She called me for a video called I'm Real, and she wanted to do like this Midwestern, small town vibe, and I always remember that it was the hardest thing because of her movie schedule, we couldn't leave LA. I was real nervous because, her stuff gets shown everywhere. We did a pretty good job of it, so that was the beginning of our relationship.
Every record, as we heard it come to life, we were thrilled like two little kids, wow, that's exactly what we were looking for.
The public agreed. On January 23, 2001, J-Lo hit the stores and immediately began climbing the charts. It seemed Jennifer had struck gold twice in a row. No one could get enough of the sexy singer.
She's so photographic, and she's such a great actress that, she just knows how to just turn it on, you know, wherever you are, whether you're on a weird futuristic set or right there in the hood, you know, she knows how to just work it sexy.
Although Jennifer was clearly ruling the roost with her music career, she hadn't given up on acting. That same month, Sony Pictures released her first romantic comedy, The Wedding Planner with Matthew McConaughey. It was apparent to all that she had found yet another professional niche in the romantic comedy genre.
The Wedding Planner was a very successful movie for our company that she just was electrifying in, and that people just fell in love with her, and she just became, among everything else, one of America's sweethearts.
Jennifer was certainly that. In late January of 2001, she made history when her new movie and new album both hit #1 at the same time. It was a feat that had never before been accomplished, and even Jennifer was wowed by the news.
That still hasn't sunk in. Separate album and a separate movie, nobody's ever done it. I couldn't believe it. I still don't believe it. I don't think it's true.
When she saw that, the success of both of those things, it was just something that she had dreamed about all her life.
I'm impressed with a person who has dreams and then lives them. I mean, there's so many people who talk about what they would do if they could, and I guess they don't realize that they can't.
Dreams come true. And that was an incredible time of her life. I don't think she'll be able to forget that ever again. To have a #1 movie, #1 album in the United States, that's big.
It was indeed evident that Jennifer could have anything she wanted, and what she wanted now was love. By this time, her relationship with Puffy had evolved into a close friendship, and Jennifer began dating Chris Judd, a dancer from her numerous music videos. The couple tied the knot in a small private ceremony in September of 2001, but unfortunately, only 7 months later, they decided to call it quits. To the public, it appeared that true love would remain frustratingly out of reach for Jennifer.
When I took a chance, thought you'd understand. Baby, credit cards are in romance. So you're trying to buy what's already yours. What I need from you is not available in stores. See inside of you that I really feel. Doing way too much, never keep it real. If it doesn't change, gotta hit the road. Now I'm leaving with my keys, I've got to go.
I'm sure that's got to be tough for her. You know, she's trying to go about it like a normal person, you know, trying to find the right relationship. And it's a lot harder when you have cameras following you around all the time to just have that normal relationship.
She's already been married and divorced, you know, that whole Puffy thing. Her personal life, she definitely puts out there.
You know, you wish she finds the person that's going to give her family and stuff like that.
Next, the Platinum Princess proves she can still make it in Manhattan.
I know what it's like to be from somewhere where people think, you know what, don't take the risk, you know, don't rock the boat.
When Lifetime's intimate portrait, Jennifer Lopez returns. Intimate portrait, Jennifer Lopez. By 2002, megastar Jennifer Lopez had proven she was a force to be reckoned with, able to negotiate both the highs and lows of celebrity status. Having already distinguished herself the previous years, the only person ever to have a #1 movie and album at the same time, she suffered a personal setback when her marriage to dancer Chris Judd ended in divorce. The entertainer bounced back when her album of remixes, J to the LO, reached the #1 spot on the charts. And she also went back to work in Hollywood, playing an abused wife who strikes back at Billy Campbell in Enough.
It has to do with a woman, Jen, who finds herself married to a man and discovers that he's highly abusive. And she is left with no alternative except to go on the offensive and defend her life and the life of her child.
Enough, I thought she did such a great job in that. I was so proud of her in that movie.
Enough became the #1 movie in America upon its release, and Jennifer was honored for her achievements in March when she was named the Show Est Female Star of the Year, joining the ranks of fellow box office sweethearts Julia Roberts and Meg Ryan. As if that weren't enough, Jennifer continued to expand her entrepreneurial interests with her own clothing line, perfume, and celebrity eatery in Pasadena called Madres.
My dad runs the restaurant. Whenever I've been in LA lately, I'm there every single night. I'm so proud of it. Jen does things that sometimes I look at them and I go, man, this is something to be so proud of. And the party was really great. It was a little fun.
Despite her varied interests, Jennifer had also grown introspective over the course of the previous year, and she decided to pour her soul-searching into another album.
I spent a lot of time alone making decisions and figuring out what I wanted to do with my life and where I was going and why certain things had happened in my life. And I wrote about it, you know what I mean? And I let it come out, and I kind of bared my soul in a weird way, in a way I hadn't before on my last 3 records.
Jennifer don't hide from nothing, so she can write about it. And, you know, if people want to ever hear the real story, they should listen to the words to her albums, because that's the truth.
When I first played it for people, I was like, oh my God, what have I done? You know? But now I just feel like, you know what, when you're an artist, you have to express yourself. It's the only way to do it. And when I would listen to songs, I was like, you know what, these songs are good, and I know that people are going to be able to relate to this in some way, because everybody goes through the same things, not just, you know, the person on the cover of the tabloid.
Jennifer's time to get to know herself was punctuated by a new love in her life, actor Ben Affleck, whom she met when the two starred together in the upcoming Martin Brest film, Gigli.
It was a great film for me because, you know, working with Marty Brest and working with Ben Affleck at the time was, for me, the first time where I really had a like leading man match in a long time. You know, the last few movies I had done, like, I was carrying the movie. And this was the first one where I was in a long time where it was like, okay, it's his movie and I'm kind of, you know, the girl, you know, which was actually good because it was a great part for me.
As soon as I met Ben, I knew, I mean, I just loved him immediately. I mean, there was just like a connection there. All her co-stars were always very nice, you know, all the ones I met. But there was just something so special about Ben, so different.
We both had kind of our preconceived notions about each other, you know, and wrongfully so, because we both should know better. Thank God we were both smart enough to kind of come in and just let each other kind of affect each other in a way where it was kind of like a clean slate, you know, and I'm glad we did because we became really, really good friends on that film.
With her love life finally back on track, Jennifer Lopez made a timely return to romantic comedies in 2002 in the Cinderella Story Made in Manhattan opposite Ralph Fiennes. Jennifer's fans were delighted to have the star back on her home turf.
One time I remember shooting outside the Met at night, and it was floodlit and looking great and romantic, and she was in her ball gown, I was in my tux, and I had to chase her down the steps towards the fountain, and a big crowd of people came out of Central Park. There'd been a concert, and they were cheering, J-Lo, J-Lo, Jennifer, and she was standing there in the lights and the fountains, and I thought, this is like a Fellini movie.
She was very down-to-earth, very real, very direct, very straightforward, very tough, you know. And yet at the same time, there's a vulnerability under that which I, you know, knew would be great for the character.
I'm a romantic. I like love stories. And this character, being from the Bronx and being Puerto Rican and being a minority, I know what that is. And I know what it's like to be somebody who's working 9 to 5 and getting on a train every day and who wants more, aspires for more. So for me, this character was very real.
Yeah, I think that she's pretty in touch with who she is. And just because she dresses it up doesn't mean she doesn't remember.
She has great instincts, particularly for this kind of material, romantic comedy. You know, especially for this, you need to be open, alert, look for the eye contact, and play off of each other. And she did that. It was great.
You're beautiful.
So are you.
Thank you for being here.
Well, I only came to tell you that you and me can't go anywhere beyond this evening. It just can't.
Well, then you should have worn a different dress.
Following Made in Manhattan, Jennifer and Ben re-teamed for their second feature together, Jersey Girl, directed by Kevin Smith.
She called him up and said, I'm going to be your wife. And he was like, dead silence on the phone, because I think he'd always been hoping that anyway. And she was like, in the movie. And he was like, oh, yes, in the movie. So I think it was good. Being in the flick was actually kind of a nice precursor to what they eventually wound up doing.
Not willing to be upstaged by cinema, Jennifer and Ben decided to write their own happy ending when they announced their engagement later that same year.
I think finally at last she is exactly where she wants to be. She's happy, and I love him. So that's very important.
Children growing, women choosing, men go.
Always eager to show her fans that she knows how to keep it real, Jennifer gave everyone a glimpse at her life with Ben in the video Jenny from the Block, the single from her album, This Is Me, Ben.
Now he's involved with somebody that's global, man. She's huge. You know, they know about J-Lo on the moon. So it's weird to, like, watch that dude take a back seat to somebody who's far more famous than he is. It doesn't bristle him in terms of his ego or anything. It's just really like he's gone into this kind of protector mode in many ways.
J-Lo to this headline clips. I stay grounded as the amounts roll in. I'm real, I thought I told ya. I'm real, even on no bruh. That's just me. Nothing phony, don't hate on me. What you get is what you see. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block.
These cats will last, man. They will get me married a long time and have tons of babies.
We'll see. I hope so. All right, now bring it back.
Throughout her short decade in show business, Jennifer Lopez has reached the zenith of her profession as an actress, a singer, and entrepreneur. There is no telling where the future may take her, but one thing is certain. Whatever it is she sets her sights on next, she'll most likely find a way to make it happen.
I don't put nothing past her. She's out there like that. You know, she can do anything. She's Superwoman.
The press wants to say diva, and I don't know what diva is. But if diva is somebody who gets up at 5 in the morning and who works out for an hour and a half and then sort of attends to all of her businesses, makes a movie, and then after the movie goes and works on her album, then okay.
She has a very strong creative instinct for the kind of movie she wants to make, songs she wants to write, and she has a great strength of character, which I think people respond to.
I hope she keeps doing what makes her happy. She's always wanted to have a family just like we had, you know, a fun, cool, loving, close household that you know is your anchor.
She's still Jennifer, you know? I mean, to everybody else, she's J-Lo or, you know, Jennifer Lopez, a superstar, but to me, she's just my baby Jen. She'll always be my baby Jen.
My motto in life, in general, is like work hard and don't hurt nobody. The one thing I do pray for at night is like, God, please help me to be a good person. You know what I mean? So long as I know that I've been a good person and I'm working hard and treat my family the same way as I always did, and my friends and my loved ones, then that's all I can do.
Not only has Jennifer Lopez been living her own rags to riches story, but now she even gets to play a modern Cinderella in a new movie called Made in Manhattan, coming to theaters this week. For Lifetime's Intimate Portrait, I'm Meredith Vieira.